management, growth and development needs to, again, to be applied in a timely fashion. Plants pick up all the nutrients from within the soil and soil solution, so supplying irrigation is very critical. Your irrigation system should be designed properly for your particular crop of acreage. Should actually draw a design of your irrigation system for that particular area, keep it as a record. Keeping track of what's going on with that system. Ensure that the system is working properly, not clogged or leaking. This is very important, especially if you're using drip irrigation and you're fertigating. You want to ensure when you apply your irrigation, the plants are actually getting the nutrients from that system. So you want to ensure that nothing is clogged. And sometimes because of the fertigation system, you depend on the chemicals you use, you might get clogged on the lines. Probably even the quality, the pH of the water could also cause precipitation of certain elements in that solution. So you have to ensure that you check your irrigation system and make sure that it's actually working properly. Also be mindful of the pH of the water when you're applying based on the chemical fertilizer using or the chemical using. Be mindful of the pH because some chemicals or fertilizer inputs require the water to be a certain pH. So these things you have to be mindful too because these would affect the growth and performance of the crop. As I said, check the irrigation system to ensure application rates are being met. Establish an irrigation program for your crop. So you want to know when you're going to apply your irrigation, how much volume and time. Establish an irrigation schedule and application volume based on crop needs. So based on the crop requirements, you will set a schedule that when you need to irrigate and how much you need to irrigate. Again, monitor soil content and crops for showing signs of moisture stress as indicators when to irrigate. You walk in the field, you watch your soil, monitor your soil, you will look at the crops. You could actually pick up signs of when plants are under stress, you know you need to irrigate. Right? Utilize soil moisture meters to aid in monitoring soil moisture content. For example, this picture, we have a tensiometer where you could actually monitor that moisture. What we actually measure here is what we call matrix suction. So as the soil dries, it pulls water from outside the meter into the soil. That creates a vacuum which takes a reading on the gauge and tell me the suction pressure on that. So when it reaches a certain point, you say for example if it reaches 40 centibars, I know I need to irrigate. This system can be also automated onto the irrigation system where it could be timed in, and as the soil starts to dry, the system kicks in and supplies the water to the crop. Just keeping enough soil moisture to keep the crop healthy and growing. No moisture stress. Keep records of all irrigation systems. Applications, very important. You want to know how much water you're applying, when you're applying. All that may affect your management of the crop. Keeping records may even tell you, like, when you assess it, like, you realize that this particular month was more hotter than previous years, and I realized I applying more water. Again, that would influence things you could probably measure, you could put in place. So, as you say, if the soil is not covered, you might say, well, let me use a mulch this time on the surface. That conserves moisture and yet reduce soil temperature. The plant is not pulling or much water from the soil and not evaporating. So you're keeping that moisture pool inside the soil. So keeping records is very important of what's going on in your field and with your irrigation practices. Pest and disease management, another program. You need to establish a pest and disease management program to deal with any problems that will affect crop growth and performance. You don't want your crops to be planted and then you have all problems going on with it and you have no proper pest and disease management program in place. Once you have this in place, you know what you need to do before things start to happen. And as I say, prevention is better. It's best to prevent things happening than when they occur, then you have to deal with that situation. Monitoring, a very key component. Scout your fields, watch through the crop, observe for any signs of pest and disease. All right? And any pest and disease program, I advise you to utilize the IPM, Integrated Pest Management, where you're using cultural, biological, physical, and chemical methods. Chemical methods could be the last resort based on how you evaluate your previous tree practices. If they're not functioning, you resort to the chemical methods. Remove and dispose of any plant material that could act as the habitat for pest and disease. All that is part of the cultural practices in the IPM. Implement field sanitation measures. By keeping your fields clean, you reduce the chance of pest and disease being introduced or being developed in that field. Establish a clean and sanitary schedule for equipment and tools. Tools and equipment do spread diseases, do spread pest and disease throughout the field. So you might use equipment in one particular field A, and you have to go and do some operation in field C. When you move from that there, you carry whatever the tractor picks up or whatever the tools picks up from that field, carry it into another field. Cleaning and sanitizing tools is very important to reduce the incidence of pests and diseases. Establish your pest and disease threshold levels. When we say threshold levels, you have your economic threshold level, and you have your action threshold level. You want to know when you want to establish these levels that when it reaches, you don't want the pest and disease to reach that economic threshold level, because then again, that's when you start to lose you lose your crop because of that. So you have your action threshold level, which tells you, right, I need to take action, I need to do something to stop this increase in or spread of pest or disease. So your action threshold level does that. And that could be, again, whether you do something culturally, by using biological practices, physical practices, or even chemical practices. But your action threshold levels dictate when you need to perform a certain action to control that pest or disease. Understand the life cycle and damage caused by insect, pest, and disease. That's very important. If you understand the life cycles of a particular pest or particular disease, then you will have an idea when you know how to control that, or what might incur the start of that disease. Because it could be a matter of fact, like with probably a fungal disease. It could be a situation where you have too much moisture within the soil, so you need to control regulating irrigation application to reduce that moisture content. So understanding life cycle, what incurs the pests and the disease, will help you go away and controlling and managing your fields. Select the appropriate chemicals for control of pests and disease once identified. Very critical. Because you might see a problem occurring in the field, make sure you identify that problem. You don't want to go in a case where you might go apply chemicals and might not treating that problem. You might say, hey, that's a fungal disease, but they want to ensure you identify what is the problem, because again, it plays a whole role in managing that crop, managing that field, and also the recurrence of that problem within that field if you have to come back to crop again. Because certain fungal diseases can persist in an environment if you monitor cropping continuously, so you might need to rotate that particular crop to suppress that particular disease or that particular pest. So identifying your pest and disease is very important. Alternate chemicals to reduce the development of resistant populations. You might come with this crop around, we might use chemical A, B, and C. When we plant, again, we want to alternate. We don't want any pest and disease being resistant to that particular chemical. So you always look to rotate your chemicals. Again, hence the reason why it's good also to keep records of these things, because then you will know what you used the last time. So you come crop the following time, then you know what you need to rotate your chemicals. As I said, keep records of pest and disease incidents and chemical applications. Anytime you have a problem with pest and disease, record the date that happened, when it happened. Keep track of that, because all that record keeping helps you in improving your farming operation and your cropping operations. Look at your chemical applications. You want to know when you apply chemical. So all these things you keep track of, because when you apply that chemical, you want to know if it was effective, because you might apply that chemical, it's not effective, you might need to change that chemical, you might need to find something else to use. Again, if you use it with this particular crop, and you come back and grow that crop again, you might need to change that chemical, because I used that chemical last time, let me rotate. So keeping records is very important.